Hello, my lovelies. Here's some words of wisdom. I'm just going to talk about the gift of detachment and how it is not always a negative thing. It can be used as a strength, as something that is a positive tool, but it can often become a negative thing that people use to manipulate, or a way that they avoid those hard conversations that need to happen. There are various ways detachment supports somebody. So I'm going to talk about, briefly, share some wisdom from a priestess to you guys about what my thoughts are, what my wisdom is when it comes to detachment and how you can use it to your benefit. Because we often hear it as a negative terminology. You're detaching from the situation, detachment issues. You see it construed in a very negative light. But in reality, I see it and have used it as strength, as a way to gain more confidence, gain more security, handle hard discussions, walk away with my head held high. When you think of detaching from something, you can look at it in different ways. The negative way that we often hear about is avoiding those conversations, avoiding confrontation. You're detaching yourself from this person that's toxic. That could be a good thing, though, in that case. Detaching from a scenario that no longer serves you. That's another positive aspect. A negative aspect would be a person that has attachment issues and you have to detach yourself from said person. It makes things awkward, tough, difficult, etc. But to use the detachment method as a tool is how I'm going to explain how I've done it to build my career, self-esteem, and situation in life. I'm going to show you how you can detach from something that would otherwise have power over you. In reality, this is all based on emotions. If you can control your emotions and detach yourself from a situation that makes you want to be very emotional, you can master anything in life. It's like the Cleopatra effect. She caused wars for her detachment abilities. It was a talent. It was a gift. Many arrogant people that are construed as arrogant and proudful are masterful detachmenters, as I like to call. And there's a few ways that you can help learn to detach from emotions when you need to, so it doesn't get to your head. It's not every moment where you need to detach from emotions, because then you really get on the high pulpit, and then that becomes a different thing altogether. That's a negative thing. But we all need to learn a little bit of emotional detachment and use it to our benefit. The first thing is you need to not rely on a person to feel valued. Right then and there, that's the one thing you need to master and stop doing. Stop receiving your value from another imperfect person. Because if you continue to pursue and seek validation, seek comfort, seek love, seek from anyone with a heartbeat, minus animals, okay? Any human being that can talk, for the most part. If you do that, if that's what you do to feel validated and supported and feel confident about yourself, that is doomed to fail. Because they will always fail us. They're never going to be perfect. They're never going to get it right. They're never going to always say the right thing. And the minute they slip up and they become human, your whole world falls apart. Your detachments, your attachment issues, become something that is making you insecure and that affects you and your future and your well-being. That's the first thing. Learn to find your value in something greater. And as a priestess, I will support the divine 100% in this area. The divine is there to guide you, to love you, to support you. So many divinities are at our fingertips for so many comforting methods that we need and require in order to be efficient, good human beings that are put on this earth to fulfill the mission that the divine has called us to fulfill. He gives us the cosmos as a guide to find those answers, to find the divinities that will help guide us on this mission that we are all born to take in one way or another. So master that. Get that down pat. The more you beg other people to feel valued, the more you nag, because that's what it is. If you need and require another human being to feel validated and valued, they will feel weighted down. It's only a matter of time. They will sense it. They will know. Their aura, their essence will know that your essence and spirit is hanging on them like a toddler hanging on their parent's leg. They will feel it. Their essence will feel it. And it will weigh them down, and then they will want to get you off of them. There's only one individual who could take you, and you can lean on them as long and as hard as you want, and that is the divine. Period. That's the only thing where you can lay your burdens at the divine's feet and have it be held and nurtured and valued and loved. Only one. Everyone else will fail you. Master that. The second thing and the last thing that you need to know and master in order to emotionally be able to detach is to be the diamond amongst rocks. Be the shiny thing that stands out. That is when a little bit of arrogance comes into play. And arrogance is simply you valuing your worth. You need to know your worth. And by knowing your worth, you have to know it. It's not found in another human being. That is the only way to know your worth. You must do step 1 in order to do step 2, in order to be strong, to emotionally detach from people or things said or done to you. Another trick that I do, apart from those 2 main steps here, is when I'm being told and talked to and it's really affecting me and I could sense my emotions start to rile it themselves up, I continue to listen, because it's a double-edged sword. You want to be listening and respectful, but if, let's say there's 2 scenarios. It's a boss and you need to value what they say. And I'm not one that'll, no matter who it is, I won't shrink and run. So this applies to most. How you should react when you're hearing something you don't want to hear that's causing emotions in you. But you want to be strong. You want to come off as secure. I immediately think of dirt. I know this is so funny. It's weird. It's whatever. Dirt? Are you serious? Yes, dirt. I think of the dirtiest, muddiest pile of dirt in my backyard. And if you want to add to it to give it even stronger power, because this is what you're brewing, spiritual power to not react to what's being said. Add things that you love and value. Add seashells if you love and value the sea. If you love your children, add their little hands playing in the mud. Add their smiles. Add your spouse. Add your significant other. Add things, people, animals, places that bring you joy and value, and put it in this mud. And the combination of thinking of mud, which actually works to stop a boner, which is proven, I don't know why, but it does. It's the same method that stops your emotions from going haywire, but adding those significant things that you find great value in. If it's a job, focus on the fact that this job has blessed your life, that you want that paycheck, that you need to control that emotion, because you want to look good for the boss. You don't want any issue with losing your job. So the mud and the value scenario that you're just brewing up in your mind will serve as your mind taking itself away from what it's hearing. If you really get good at the skill, you'll still take in verbatim what they're saying, but without your emotions getting in the way of it. You're putting your emotions in one category with the mud, where they actually belong at that time, and you're putting your listening, your hearing, still directed to what's being said. That way you're hearing it, but you're not feeling it. That's the goal. You don't want to feel it. You just need to hear it, because it is good to hear what someone has to say. They might be right, but you don't want to feel what they have to say. Not at the time. You don't want to feel at the time because you can't trust your emotion and composure to not start crying, which will create its own issues, especially in front of a boss. Especially if you're like an executive and you start crying. It's like, really? Are you really good enough for this job?
When I've been reprimanded by a boss, it takes a lot to make me cry, but for some reason I am a wuss. When I'm being told I'm not good enough or I did something wrong, when my intentions were everything but that. When my intentions were misrepresented, misseen, misheard, misunderstood, I tend to get emotionally weak. It's not that I'm weak. It's that my emotions just are not in check. And it is because my reputation, my honor is being questioned and said that it's not good. And so I could either kick their ass, I could either curse them out, I could either tell them they're fucking wrong. I can have a reaction, but you typically would get fired. You typically create more problems in whatever scenario where you're losing your emotional strength in this scenario I'm sharing with you. So learning to keep yourself in check, your emotions, with the techniques I've mentioned in this video will go a long way in your life. You'll learn to stand strong and firm in front of a boss or a colleague or a spouse or a friend or a person on the road or the confrontation. You'll learn to be the emotionally intelligent one. A common phrase that I've heard so often in my career, and it's called emotional intelligence. Some of the best leaders, employees, and colleagues have emotional intelligence. And that's what I'm going to kind of close out my video of thoughts here, because that's the key. Emotional intelligence is not a term to belittle anyone who lacks it. It's a term to recognize that many people are not emotionally strong. They don't emotionally think while their emotions are being exposed. They're kind of in chaos. They can't keep them in check. They can't keep themselves in check. And so to have emotional intelligence means that you're able to control how you react to something with your mouth, with your demeanor, with your expressions. And that goes so far in a career, it goes so far in relationships, it goes so far in your life if you can master emotional intelligence. I really want to make and create a course focused on that, because that would solve so many people's issues in their lives if they could learn emotional intelligence. So hopefully this long video has helped with various different tips in various situations in life, because that's how I've gotten to where I'm at today. It wasn't easy, a lot of trial and error, a lot of lack of emotional intelligence, and that is how the best are created.